Okay, so now let's look at this exercise together. Okay, so it's kind of a lot of information. So I already put all the numbers for you in this Excel. Okay, so this company or Linde Electrics produce stereo components. Maybe you are too young to know what the stereo is. I know. Stereo. Let's say this is computer. Okay, so computer. They make computers, and the unit price is 100. Okay, fixed cost 200,000. Their variable cost per unit is 50. Okay, so to make the one computer, the cost variable cost is 50. Okay, production they can produce 5,000 units. Okay, then EBIT earning before interest and tax is 50,000. Okay, then they have assets of 500,000, and it's all financed by equity, so they don't have any debt, no borrowing. Okay, then now they want to change their production process. Okay, basically they want to increase assets, means they want, maybe let's say they want to buy new machine which costs 400,000, and as a result you have to have additional costs for fixed operating costs. So fixed cost will increase by 50,000. Then this new process will reduce variable cost per unit by 10. Okay, then you can produce more. You can produce 2,000 units more with this new investment, and your price will be lower. All units have to be lower to 95 to permit sales of additional output. Okay, so your sales price will be lowered. You have no tax. You have no debt. Remember, it's all about equity financing. Okay, so you just receive the money from the investor, no borrowing from the banks. Then lastly, average cost of capital is 10%. Okay, then question is, so let's see, should this company make the changes? Why or why not? So question is, should they invest in this new asset? So let's look at it. Let's do this together. Okay, so uh, so before this investment, how much sales do you have? Okay, so how much sales you have? Sales price times how many production. So this is the price. Okay, you have fixed cost. Fixed cost is this, right? You have variable cost. Okay, is equal to 50 times how many units you produce. 5,000 units. Okay, so your profit is basically sales minus cost. I did there two costs, so it's 50,000. So it's actually already calculated EBIT equal to EBIT. How about after this investment? Okay, so sales, remember sales price will be 95, right? But your production is 5,000 plus 2,000. Okay, fixed cost is this, and you have some additional fixed cost, right? 50,000. Okay, right. And how about the variable cost? Variable cost will change. This is before, but you can reduce by 10. Okay, then how many units? Same thing. You have this production before and additional production. How about 2,000, right? Okay, so sales minus fixed cost minus variable cost. Okay, so this is before and after. Okay, so I want to know change in profit. How much profit increase is just this minus this, right? After the increase by 85,000. Okay, so your return on invested capital, remember, This is from this formula, right? Change in profit divided by invested capital. This time, invested capital, how much did you invest? Is 400,000, right? So it's equal to change in profit divided by your invested capital. So it's, if it's in percentage, it's 21%. Okay. So the question is what was the question? Should they invest? Why or why not? So I will say yes, they should invest. Why? Because remember their cost of capital, remember they don't have any borrowing, they finance everything with equity, and their cost of capital is 10%, but they can increase their return is 21%. Okay, so their return is more than the cost of capital. Okay, so that's why they can get more return. Their return is more than cost. Okay. Next question. Would the company break even point increase or decrease if it made a change? Okay. So break even. So you already know how to calculate break even. The formula is fairly easy, but I just type again. So fixed cost divided by price minus variable cost. Okay. So before, how much is the break even? So how much is the fixed cost? Is this, okay? Minus, divided by unit price minus variable cost. So break even is 4,000. Okay. How about after? How about the fixed? How much is the fixed cost? This fixed cost, right? Divided by how much is the price? Is not this one. Price is reduced to 95, right? Minus how much is the variable cost? Variable cost is 50 minus 10. So it's basically 40, right? Okay, so here we go. So break even point changes from 4,000 units to 4,500 units. Okay, so would the break point increase or decrease? Okay, so the answer is increase. Okay. It says this company was unable to raise additional equity financing and had to borrow. So this time, the assumption was there's no debt. It says no debt, right? But the situation changed. Okay, they have to borrow this amount equal to the new investment, right? They have to borrow at 10% of interest rate. Okay, you don't have to worry about this due point thing. Should or Linde makes a change if debt financing must be used? Explain. Okay, so now you have debt. Okay, so what's the difference between debt and equity? All right, so what's the difference? One of the differences is interest, and you have to pay interest by 10%, right? So 10%, how much you need to borrow is 400,000, this amount, times how much is the interest, 10%. So you have to pay this interest expense. Okay, so your profit will change, right? Your profit, you have this profit, but you have to pay this interest. Okay, so your profit will be changed to 95,000. Okay, and your return on investment. So still, the change in profit is maybe I will say change in profit is going to be now. This is after, and this is before. This is after they invested and they have to pay interest expense now. Okay, and minus profit before they invest. So it's now 45,000. And how about return on invested capital? Is equal to change in profit divided by their assets. So it's now 11%. 11%. Okay. Should make the change if debt financing must be used, explain. Okay. So answer is obviously yes, because this is still higher than their cost of capital. Right? This is also higher than 11% is more than 10%. This one is already deducted the interest expense. Then still their return is higher. Okay. So answer is yes. Okay. So these are the kind of analysis that you can make. Okay, so now it's your turn. So I have 3 assignments actually. First one is do the break-even analysis, do this assignment. Assignment 2, leverage effects, return on investment. It says in this equation, return on equity. It's almost the same thing. It's just a net profit divided by equity instead of invested capital. Same thing, okay? So use return on ROE, return on equity. And the last one is break even. So this is important. You have to apply what you learn to real world. Okay. So now we are in the crazy world now. So all the shopping malls closed. Okay. But the restaurants in shopping mall, they still open just for takeout only. Okay. But I was just wondering, do they still make the break even point? Okay. So I want you to use your imagination or assumption, or maybe you can search some actual information. Okay, so remember for break even, you need to know fixed cost, price, and the variable cost. Okay, so for example, Hachiban Ramen, one of my favorite restaurants. Okay, so you already know how much is the bowl of ramen, so it's almost like 80 to 120. So you can say 100. Okay. How many bowls of ramen do they have to sell for the break even? Just for takeout only, right? So I want you to kind of use your imagination or assumption, or search on the internet, but how much is their fixed cost? How much is their variable cost, if you can find, okay? Then I want you to make the analysis that how many units they have to make the break even, okay? You don't have to choose Hachiban. Maybe you have better idea with another restaurant. Okay, so choose any restaurant and analyze. So this is the assignment 3. Okay.